Let me ask you, when did Angel stop treating destiny like a spam email and start choosing sobriety, one awkward, reluctant choice at a time? The show tells you 13 times quietly. You just have to know where to look. We're going to line them up. The city acting like purgatory with parking tickets, the office pretending to be a beacon with terrible lighting, the weekly trials hitting like cravings, the relapse speaking with that old "I swear I've changed" voice, the mentor nudging you back like a passive-aggressive life coach, and the reward that might actually be the trap. If nothing we do matters, what we do next matters. Keep watching to catch every step of the recovery map, especially when faith hits rock bottom. Number 1, LA is purgatory, not paradise. What if Los Angeles isn't the dream but the waiting room, where every choice counts and nothing sticks unless you repeat it tomorrow? Basically the DMV of destiny. The show parks him in alleys, rooftops, and bland apartments that look like they were decorated by a tax accountant. Knight's Loop. He hits the same moral fork, quick fix or slow service. The mantra stays simple: help the helpless. Like daily penance, you redo or lose XP by midnight. Here's the twist. Recovery theory says the work is process, not endpoints. That fits perfectly with a city built like a maze someone rage designed at 2 a.m. Urban studies see LA as routes that never resolve, detours that add 3 hours, and neighborhoods that refuse to sit together politely. It avoids closure, like a craving window that keeps hitting the snooze button. So LA becomes a 12-step map. Same streets, new tests, purgatory, not paradise. Salvation isn't granted, it's practiced. His geography is a behavioral ritual, not a backdrop. Number 2, the office as a beacon. Why does a dingy office with a neon sign feel like church for the damned? Because lost people can finally find a door that isn't locked or asking for an appointment. The light cuts through the night. Not flashy, just stubborn. You walk in and the world hits the brakes. Clients arrive scrambled. The team offers coffee, a chair, and rules that feel made up 5 minutes ago. Stories spill first. Then the questions. Then the plan. It runs like a meeting: share, listen, choose the next right thing. The front desk isn't decor. It's an emotional seatbelt you grab when life fishtails. The whiteboard fills with names, debts, and follow-ups. A giant amends list that only disappears if you actually do the work. Here's the twist. Community recovery works best with stable rooms and repeat faces. The office steals that blueprint. Angel Investigations turns shame into service. Recovery needs a room and a routine. But what fills the space between meetings? Trials. Quick pause before we dive into the next hidden meaning. If you're enjoying this breakdown, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. We've got even deeper angel theories. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's next. Number 3, weekly trials, not monster. What if the monster is just a craving with better dental work? Each case waves a shortcut in his face. Hit back harder, grab the easy power, pretend that gaping emotional wound is totally fine. The demon makes noise, but the real brawl is the urge to numb everything now. Watch how the quick fix is always right there. A rage-fueled beatdown could wrap things up instantly. A cursed artifact promises gains without the gym. A lie could wipe the mess clean. He waits. He exhales. He picks the slower, annoying, adult path, and the better choice shows up late, like a craving finally getting bored and going home. Here's the twist. Craving cycles rise, then crash. Choices made after the peak actually stick. The show times confrontations so the impulse burns off before the decision. That's intentional. The weekly format becomes a sobriety drill. Feel the urge, ride it out, act with values. Episodic design equals relapse prevention. So what is Angel running from inside himself? Number 4, vampirism is addiction. The thirst isn't just blood. It's the itch to delete pain like a bad file. That's the hook. The show treats blood as a miracle shortcut that works now and ruins your week later. You feel the pull because that's the trick. Craving disguised as biology. Angel's soul doesn't cancel appetite. It just installs a louder alarm system. Every feeding has a rulebook. Where, how, what, and absolutely never in secret, except secrecy sneaks in anyway. When he hides it, the vibe shifts straight to shame. When he remembers the rush, that's euphoric recall in a leather coat. No slip is small. Watch the coping tools. Blood bags act like diet versions of disaster. Isolation cuts down triggers. Routines keep the craving window tiny. Addiction models call it substitution and structure. His habits check those boxes like homework. Vampirism makes inner compulsion a body-level chore he has to manage daily. The curse isn't evil power. It's chronic maintenance. And when the condition breaks containment, what voice speaks? Number 5. Angelus is relapse. The scariest villain sounds like your worst inner voice. Confident, charming, cruel. Angelus doesn't pop in cackling. He shows up like a treat-yourself thought with fangs. He talks like freedom. He acts like proof that restraint was a prank you fell for. Angelus isn't a stranger. He's Angel with the safety features disabled. He remembers every promise and weaponizes them, calling recovery theater and intimacy a con he's too smart to fall for. Watch the pattern. He leans in, shreds boundaries, and sells a truth that conveniently excuses destruction. Your pain is proof you should double down on pain. Here's the twist. Relapse psychology matches that swagger. State-dependent memory pulls up old scripts the moment inhibition drops. Shame spirals make cruelty feel deserved. The relief achas ruin cycle snaps in quick. Sweet high, crater after. Labeling Angelus as relapse reframes the battle. Not good versus evil, but sobriety versus self-sabotage. Number 6. Doyle, the sponsor. Why does Doyle feel less like a sidekick and more like the guy who calls when you're slipping? Because he doesn't flatter. He reroutes you like a human GPS with attitude. He takes a chaos vision and boils it down to one doable next step. Not penance, service. He checks in. He reality tests. Angels spirals. Did you sleep? Did you eat? What can you actually handle in the next hour? When Angel drifts toward dramatic self-punishment, Doyle gently drags the spotlight back to people who need help right now. That's sponsorship logic. Accountability, lived experience, goals that don't require superpowers. He doesn't pry, he just asks for honesty you can realistically deliver. And when talk won't hold, he goes full step 12. Carry the message, even when it hurts. Number 7. Faith's rock bottom. Faith doesn't stumble, she crashes like someone hitting every emotional pothole at 80 miles per hour. The spree plays like a binge, impulsive, escalating, raw. When the walls close in, she doesn't hunt for a loophole. She taps out. She asks for the hard road and takes the bill up front. Her violence leaves debris. Victims, guilt, and fear trail her like smoke she can't outrun. Jail hits, and the show frames it like detox with paperwork. Fixed schedules, strict limits, and outside contact you choose instead of panic dial. That framing matters. Recovery research calls rock bottom the readiness point, the moment when bargaining dies and the work finally starts. Then comes accountability. She names harm without spin. She takes tasks step by step. Routine, training, service. Mentorship shifts into sober coaching. Check-ins, boundaries, and plans you can actually pull off today. Number 8. Darla is the cycle. Every time Darla walks back in, Angel's progress glitches. Why? Because she isn't a person in his story. She's the loop his brain keeps autoplaying. She shows up like a memory wearing perfume, and suddenly the past feels way more comfortable than whatever emotional homework he's supposed to be doing now. Here's the twist. Their bond runs on euphoric recall, codependent bargaining, and that magnetic trauma tug. The addiction cycle is right there. Trigger, ritual, use, regret. He chases saving her as the ritual that lets him get the fix. Control, nostalgia, that old intoxicating chaos. Clarity slips, boundaries smear. Then the consequences drop. The pregnancy arc makes the fallout literal, long-term, and messy. Like waking up to a new debt you can't pay off with a single heroic gesture. Number 9, Wolfram and Hart is the system. What if the real villain is a company that never sleeps and always hands you a cheat code? Wolfram and Hart runs on that pitch. Results on demand. No penance, no patience, no practice. Basically an evil Amazon Prime. They sell outcomes without effort, power without price tags, victories without recovery. It's the dream you want when you're exhausted and the nightmare that shows up when the invoice hits. The tools are familiar, contracts that grip harder than handcuffs, NDAS that wipe out witnesses, clauses that twist consent into origami. Every document is a trap disguised as fine print. Here's the twist. Institutional corruption research says incentives rewrite ethics, switch the rewards, and people redraw their boundaries. Wolfram and Hart is relapse architecture. Quick wins, warped scoreboards, and non-stop pressure to trade values for victories. Number 10, corporate power. Modern corruption. The show predicts a world where PR beats penance. Outcomes are managed, not earned. You can buy a headline, rent a narrative, and outsource the mess. That's power as wallpaper. Looks good, fixes nothing. Then the tension hits. Results get monetized. Reputations get washed like laundry on express cycle. Truth gets handed off to whatever department has the least meetings. In that marketplace, recovery looks slow, stubborn, and wildly unscalable. It's not making anyone's quarterly deck. Cases keep repeating the pattern. A crisis gets rebranded, not resolved. A payout stands in for restitution. Corporate language swaps moral vocabulary with deliverables and alignment. Angel has to hold a different scoreboard. People helped, harm reduced, trust rebuilt. Not deals closed. Number 11, Lindsay and Lila. Compromise in suits. They look like pros. They act like enablers. Suits, clean offices, that calm vibe of people who rehearse their empathy in the mirror. Then comes the pitch. Delivered with a smile that feels suspiciously like help. Lindsay sells purpose like it's a subscription service. He wraps temptation in talk of impact and opportunity, like a premium plan hiding 12 surprise fees. Lila treats ethics like store credit. She turns every boundary into a coupon and every favor into debt. Together, they offer the high-status relapse. Do good, but do it our way, and sign here in blood-adjacent ink. Watch the cat and mouse. A gift shows up with a booby-trapped clause. A warning masquerades as care, but quietly shrinks your options. Flirtation morphs into a contract you only notice when you try to exit. Negotiation psychology calls this foot in the door. A tiny yes warms you up for a terrible yes. That's moral drift in a blazer. Number 12, Season 5, Inside the Beast. Angel takes the corner office. Victory or relapse? The desks are nicer, the coffee is free, and the elevator drops straight into moral temptation like it's a theme park ride. From day one, the pitch sounds pure. Use their reach to save more people. But every win arrives with a memo that quietly nudges the line an inch to the left. Then the side effects roll in. A cure comes bundled with a bonus parasite. Visions show up pre-edited, not honest. Meetings turn into moral triage where favors outrank ethics before you've even sat down. Inside work becomes recovery in enemy territory. High risk, high vigilance, boundary checks every 5 minutes. Here's the twist. Willpower leaks under pressure, and incentives gently shove values off-center. You start grading yourself on results, not the work. That's the hum of discomfort running through the whole season. Number 13. Shanshu is a trap. The prophecy offers a prize for good behavior. That should help, right? Here's the twist. The second redemption turns into a coupon you can redeem. You start performing for the coupon. Do X to get Y. That's not change. That's moral coupon clipping. Watch how the arc deflates the prize. Big gestures explode in his face. Grand plans create cleanup he didn't budget for. Angel slowly drifts from chasing the Destiny headline to doing small, boring service. Help the person right there, accept zero applause, wake up and do it again. Motivation research backs this move. Intrinsic drive, values, identity, purpose beats shiny rewards for the long-term sanity. Chase the medal, lose the muscle. So Shanshu plays like a false finish line, a glittery endpoint designed to lure you off the real work. The real win is staying sober in the dark with no parade scheduled. That's the hidden map the series sketches. Angel's war isn't cosmic, it's daily. Sobriety versus a charming relapse that knows exactly how he thinks. That frame turns the alleys, offices, trials, and close calls into a practice you tally, not a myth you chase.